Hey guys, it's Maymay, and so many of you asked me to show you how to do this accordion card when I made this sample for our scripture stamp of the month set. I want to tell you that this is not my design. It is from Create with Cheryl, and we'll link her video below. I just used her design to do it, but it's really good, and I think you guys will enjoy it. Now, you'll probably notice I'm having to film a voiceover today. My audio did not work, so if my hands don't line up perfectly, I apologize. So I'm going to work with a pre-made card base. This is just an A2 card base that is pre-scored. I'm going to fold it in half, and then I will crease that down nice and tight. And then we're going to work on the inside of the card. But what's really cool about this is I think you could do it portrait or landscape. I have not tried it in the other orientation, but I think you could make it happen if you wanted to. All right, so with the designer paper, you'll notice here that it's longer than the inside. We need it to be so that when we accordion it, it will shrink down. Now this piece is 10 by 5 1/4, and we just need to score it in several places to make it accordion. So I'm going to put this into my scoreboard, and we're going to put it in on the 10-inch side, and we're going to score it at 2, at 3, at 4, at 5, at 6, 7, and you guessed it, we're going to score it at 8. So several scores in there, but it works out really cool when we do all the mountain valley folding. Now that we've got it scored, you'll see here that on your right-hand side, that is going to be the right-hand side of the card, and the left-hand side is the left-hand side. Now, the reason I say this is it's important that you think about the orientation of your cardstock, because if you have a design, you want to make sure you keep the left hand on the left hand and the right hand on the right hand. I don't have a specific design. This grunge paper can go either way, but I just want you to pay attention to that when you go to put it into your card base. Now we're just going to fold and crease on every one of our lines, creating that little accordion piece, and we will get right back together. All right, so everything is nice and folded and creased. Now, one thing I noticed when I did my folds and my creases is they get a little bit off. So when you lay this guy down flat to go into the card, you might notice that the back or the right-hand side is kind of not laying perfectly on top of the left-hand side. It's not the end of the world, but if you need to rechange or retrain your score marks, you can. Again, it's not the end of the world. It'll make one side of your card not have quite as big of a mat as the other. Typically, it's not noticeable. You will notice it, but the recipient will never see it. So we glue in this side. You don't glue the accordion strips. You only glue the base. Like you see, I glue that left-hand side, but I leave the accordions loose. And then we're going to just kind of fold those on top of itself and bring that other piece over. See here how this one's hanging over a little bit, and I kind of move it back to train it just a little. Again, not the end of the world if they're not exactly the same, but it can kind of scoot itself forward in your folding. So pay attention to that. You don't want it to hang off the other side, but you may not have them exactly the same. All right, so you get the glue applied, and then you can just close the other side down and catch that in, and then just rub it down. Now, see how I kind of adjust it once I get it in there? Adjust it, close it down, make sure it'll close, and then you are good to go. Super easy card. It looks like it's a lot more work, but that is the main part of the card. And what I love about it is the card will open flat because of how much room we have with those accordions. Now my card's a little thick. I used a very thick paper. The paper on the inside of there was the 49 and Market Wherever paper, so it was a little bit thick. But I wanted to use this for the front of my card, so I just made it happen. I thought this worked together really well. I want that road to be the focal point of my card, so I started by cutting it down to 4, and then I'm going to do 5 1/4 here. And whatever's left is left. It's kind of a mystery card style. I don't mind those numbers up in the corner or what have you. I just like that road image, so that's going to be on the front of my card. I think that's so pretty. It just looks like, I don't know, like a journey. The mat would look good too. When I flipped it over to put the glue on, I was like, oh, the mat would look good too, but we're going to go with the road. So I'm going to glue this on. Now we just need to plan how we're going to do the front. One thing I really like is because those accordions are loose, I can still open this out and flatten the front of my card out without damaging the accordion pieces. You might have to kind of put them back in place, but no big deal. They can be done. So now when I was planning out the card front, I love the ephemera pieces that 49 and Market has. And I really hoped this little postcard would work, but it was too big for there. So I just grabbed these out. Look how cute these are. There are so many options. These little frames, and they come in multiple colors. There's all the tabs. There's little strips that we can stamp onto. There's wording that can be used if you want to. I just went through the pack, played around, laid a piece on, saw if I liked how it looked or not, and then chose just a few to put onto the front. So you'll see me kind of playing around, and then I'll show you how I use them. So these pieces are really cute. That piece that I'm showing you there, I really hoped I could use it. Vince's dad has this oil painting that he bought years ago when he was working in his office, and he loves that painting so much, and I thought this reminded me of it. So I was trying to make that happen. In the end, I don't end up using it because I don't think it lays out very well, but I really wanted to because it gave me a memory. Granddad probably wouldn't realize it, but it made me think of that memory, so that was pretty cool. So you see how I'm just placing them around here and there. So the plan for me is to stamp on these guys. I think the ephemera in these 49 and Market sets, and not just these, I think the ephemera that we have doesn't get used as much as it should because we could stamp and turn them into pieces for cards and things. So that's what I'm going to do today. I'm going to use this stamp set called Best Dad. I think it's really, really cute. It's perfect for Father's Day, and we're going to use a lot of the words. So I'm trying to decide what I want to put on the front of the card, and I think because Vince calls his dad Dad, that we're going to use Dad and Proud to Call You, because I know Vince is very proud to call his dad, so I thought that would be really cool on there. So notice here I'm going to edit one of the ephemeras. It was just not exactly what I wanted, and the wording on the bottom didn't work for my card, so I decided to cut the little tag part off and cut the bottom off, and I'm going to use that to hold the Proud to Call You sentiment, and it works out really, really cute. It fits on there just right. Now for stamping, just going to use some of my VersaFine Onyx Black, and I'm going to stamp Dad on that front piece and then the Proud to Call You on the side piece. And I want them to overlap. So I'm just doing a test here to see how much space I have to stamp the word Dad in. That works perfectly. And then I'll just stamp the other little piece across the top. Now with these sentiments, these fine line sentiments, here's a tip. Don't overpress. Just place the stamp down, give it even pressure across the top. If you overpress, you can sometimes get a halo because they're very fine lines, so you just don't want to squish. And now this piece goes into the back of the card. It is 5 by 1 3/4. Don't worry though, we're going to put all the measures in the description for you so you'll have all of that. But I wanted to go ahead and stamp this before I put it in because I need to try something to see if it'll work. So my sentiment fathers, because I want to do Happy Father's Day in here, is too wide for this piece. So I'm going to try to put it on an angle. And honestly, it works like it was made to be there. It looks exactly like it fits perfectly across this little space. And then I decided that I'm going to go ahead and put Day and Happy around that. And it really does turn out cute. I really like the way this kind of nestles in. So play with the words. You don't have to just line them up straight. I think it looks cool like this too. Now this is textured cardstock that I used, and so some of my letters in the word father have a little bit of texture, and I don't really want that, so I'm going to use my Memento pen to color that in. And even though that Memento ink is different from the VersaFine ink, it still works. So they dry together and it works fine. So no matter which one of your black inks you're using, you probably can get away with this pen. It does dry kind of even. You'll see here I'm not going to do every letter. There was just a couple that were really, really faint. Some of them work just fine. I think I just do like the first 3 letters, maybe 4. But you don't even have to do that. This is just me being picky. So now it's time to think about what we want to put on the little accordion pieces on the inside. In the original card that I saw, she really focused the front with just a cut apart. And I did that here too. I just added that one little word there, remember. But on the inside, I wanted to put a lot of sentiments. And I used this for one particular stamp set so I could show off all of the things that we had added to the stamp set. But it works the same for this Dad set. I'm going to show you how to make this happen. Okay. So look, I found these in the ephemera set. I think they're so cute, these little tags or tickets. The only thing when you're looking for your ephemera is you want to make sure whatever you choose doesn't hang out the card. So here's how I tested it. I put it into one of the little slots and I shut the card, and you see how that one hangs out? Not a big deal. I could always cut it down and edit it. but I do end up finding some that fit, and this one didn't fit no matter where I put it. The cool thing is that accordion is the same. It doesn't stair step in, so if you get one to fit, they should fit on every single one of your accordions. Those tickets work perfect, and that's what I was looking for, so I decided just to go with those. Now you can see that my sentiments do not fit. I'm going to show you how to fix that, but I want to use this stamp set, and it has such good sentiments on it for Father's Day. All of these are so good. You're the best. You rock. We love you. Like, all of these sentiments are really good. And some of them I might could make fit just as they are. Like, I love you might fit. And maybe even the one in the bottom corner that says you're a step above the rest, that might fit. But I'm just going to do something called selective inking, which is my favorite technique for this because it requires nothing. It is so easy to do. So here's how this works. You're going to pick your sentiment that is too long or too big, and you're going to put it on your block just like you always would. You don't need tape. You don't have to cut your stamp apart. You don't have to do anything here. You're just going to load that stamp onto your block. And when you go to ink it, you only ink the section you want to stamp. So this one, I just want the first word, and it's worlds. So you see how I put it to the edge of my ink pad and I just roll it back to get the ink on the word worlds? That's perfect. We're just going to ink up the one word. So then I stamp it. Now the trick for the next stamp is you have to make sure you clean the ink off of your stamp. I'm just going to use a microfiber cloth. And this is such a small image, I can do this. If I have a bigger image, I will sometimes use some squeaky clean to kind of clean it also. Then I'm just going to ink up the word greatest. And this works so good. I didn't have to have tape. I didn't have to remember to take the tape off after I ink it. That's what I always forget, is to take the tape off. And then you put it wherever you want it onto your piece. So world's greatest fits right there. And so I can do that same technique for all of the others. Now, one thing about this particular stamp, previously I cut these apart. So some point in time, I cut the word you and rock apart, which works to my advantage here. So you can just cut these apart, and then when you put them back together, you just sit them next to each other on the block, and it works fine. It doesn't damage your stamp in any way. It still works. All right, on this one, I'm trying to squeeze two stamps in. I want to squeeze the word dad and number one together. So I'm putting dad at the very bottom, and I'm going to take number one and stamp it up in that space above, and I really like how that turns out too. Now here's the thing about these guys. If you glue them directly in, you can't. They really tend to blend into the back. See how the colors are so similar? Especially this guy. He kind of just blends in. Now these lighter colors are fine, and you could put the light colors on the dark accordion pieces and then the dark colors on the light accordion pieces. But I want them to really pop. So I'm going to take an extra step so that when you look at this, each of these little pieces really pop off the page. So you can measure each of these and then cut your piece to fit. But I decided I was just going to kind of cheat it. I had this scrap of cream cardstock left over from my church card I made recently, and I just decided I was going to glue these straight down. Now, I did this same thing in the first card I showed you, so if it didn't bother you there, it won't bother you here either. Like, if you think this is not something I can do, you probably didn't notice it in the first card. But what I'm going to do is glue each one of these guys down to this cream cardstock. Then I'm just going to use my scissors to leave about a 1/16 of an inch of this cream showing. Not very much. I'm not matting this like we normally do a card. I just wanted to have that outline to make it pop. Kind of like when we have stickers from a paper pack and they have that white edge around them or a cream edge around them that makes them pop off the page. We're creating that here with paper. So I just get them all glued down. And also, look how cute this is just lined up in a row. I think that's cute too. All right, so I'll take my cutter bees, and I'm really just cutting a sliver. A sliver. Oh, I guess I changed my mind on scissors. There you go. I decided to use these longer ones. That makes sense to me too. I'll tell you why. Because I like a smoother single slice. So when I can do that in one slice, I'd rather do it than having to chop it. But honestly, you can make this happen with either scissor. I even tricked myself in this video. I didn't know what was coming. So see that tiny, I don't even know. I hope I showed it. I hope I put it where you can see how tiny it is. But it is a tiny sliver around the edge. And you think this isn't going to make a difference. But when you see it in the card, I think you'll notice the big difference that it makes. So now let's glue these to the front. I'm actually going to pop up the dad sentiment. And I'm just going to use some foam squares for that because I think that'll be pretty. And then I'm going to put proud to call you there on the corner. So with my foam squares on the back, I think I use black ones here. It really doesn't matter. I do love those black foam squares though because they kind of act like shadows and kind of go away behind whatever you're popping up. So if you've never ventured into them, you might want to give them a try. They really do kind of go away. Ooh, that was close. I almost put that upside down. All right, so here we go. We put dad down. Now here's what I do here. For the proud to call you, I don't add any foam. I'm just going to glue it to the piece that is popped up so it acts like it's popped up. This card's already getting pretty thick. Now, I'm not too worried about that because it's not going in the mail. Vince will hand this to his dad. But if you're worried about that, just be mindful not to add too much foam in between the layers because this accordion adds a pretty good bit of thickness to it. Glue in our little spot to sign. And remember, you don't have to just sign there. You can always sign on the back as well if that's not enough room. See the difference? See what adding those little cream pieces really does? Now I can put them wherever I want them and they're really going to pop off the card. Now I do this like this. You can do it any way you want to. But I just kind of do a dry run with these guys and I just kind of place them where I think I want them without gluing them down. So I know this is the look I'm going for. So for me, I did the 3 across the middle, and then you'll notice these two, I did not want them to be exact. So notice that I did this one a little close to the top, and then on the one I put at the bottom right, I put it a little closer to the bottom. And the reason I do that is I don't want everything to feel matchy-matchy. I want them to feel like they're just kind of randomly laid there. So then you just apply glue to the part that's going to lay on the part of the accordion that kind of lifts it off the page. You don't want to glue the whole thing down flat, just the one little piece that goes on the accordion. Seriously, this card is so easy. It looks like a lot of work, but it's very, very easy, and I enjoyed making it. There's a lot of ways you can do this. There's so many things you could put in there as long as they'll fit when the card is closed, and I think it's super cute. All right, so when I put those down, I did not smash them down. I did not put the glue on and then smash them. I actually am going to smash them here. And the reason for that is when you close that accordion, it moves them where they need to be. And then you know you've got exactly the space you need to make that open and close correctly. Because you don't want them stuck all the way in the corner of that accordion. You want them to move out a tiny bit. And they do move when you just give them a little wiggle room when you glue them down. That is the card, you guys. I think it is super cute and super easy, and it uses a lot of our masculine product. That 49 in Market Wherever pack is perfect for masculine things. And again, here, you could write on the back if there's not enough room in the front. So there you go, guys. I hope you enjoyed that one. You know I want to see yours. I cannot wait to see what you guys do. This is the one I did earlier. It's a great use of the new stamp set that we brought out for the club this month. And I just can't wait to see what you guys do with this. Thanks to Cheryl from Create with Cheryl for creating the tutorial, which made it super easy. And be sure to subscribe. Give this video a thumbs up. We'll see you guys in the after show coming up next. And until next time, bye now.